All right, hello Algebra 2 students, and welcome to this part on graphing piecewise functions. So what you're going to be doing here is you're going to be provided with some piecewise functions. It could be 2 pieces, it could be 3 pieces, all right, and or 4 pieces. It doesn't matter, just how many pieces, whatever it is, and we're going to graph these piecewise functions. Now, we are going to start today on problem number 4, and I do want to thank the people at All Things Algebra for providing the problems here that we're about to do. So let's start here with problem number 4. And so what we have here is we have a g of x with how many pieces? How many pieces on g of x? There are 2 pieces, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to write this as the following. We're going to say that the first one, we're going to write this as part 1. We're going to write this one as part 2. Okay, so part 1, part 2. Okay, now, the reason I'm doing that is because what we're going to do is we're going to create as many tables as we have parts. Okay, so in this case, we have 2 parts, so we're going to create 2 XY tables. So I'm going to first start off by writing part 1, and I'm going to write X, then Y, okay? Then I have part 2, and I'm going to have X, Y. Now, the key on graphing a piecewise function is to look at the endpoint, or the endpoints that we might have, okay? Now, on part 1, remember it tells you always look at the if statement, like whatever comes after the if, that tells you how to, determine like any endpoints or whatever. So, well, on part 1, what does it say? It says if x is what? Less than what? -1. Less than -1. And then for part 2 is if x is greater than or equal to -1. Now, basically what we're going to do is, since -1 is the endpoint for both of those parts, what I'm going to do is for part 1, since we're going to start with, for part 1, I'm going to go ahead and put -1 as my first x. Now, also keep in mind that -1, on part 1, it says that x is less than -1. So my question to you is, what kind of circle do you think I'm going to put on this graph knowing that it says x is less than -1? An open circle. Very good. So I'm going to put the word open beside -1 on this part. Okay? Now, I need to come up with at least 2 other x values that we can use to graph the part 1. And I need to have it where x is less than -1. So can you give me any other numbers that are less than -1? -2 and -3. So it'll be -2 and -3. So I just want to have some points here so I can figure out what's going on with this. All right? Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create, we're going to plug in the values of -1, -2, and -3 separately into this first part. Remember, the first part equation is -3x minus 7. So now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come over here and plug these values in. So, for part 1, it's going to be x equals -1. I'm going to plug in -1 into the equation. So, it's going to be -3, parentheses, -1, minus 7. Okay? So, all I got to do is calculate what that's equal to, and then I'm going to have my answer. So, what is -3 times -1, and then minus 7? Do it again. Negative what? Because it's going to be 3 minus 7, right? So it's going to be -4. So I'm going to put -4 for y on this part. Again, remember this is going to be for y equals -3x minus 7. Okay? Now we do it again for -2. So just replace the x with -2 now and do the same thing. -3 times -2 minus 7. Can anybody tell me what that equals to? Negative what? -1. Okay. Now, can you figure out what it is for -3 without plugging it in? It's -4, -1, then what? What did you say? 2. What kind of 2? Positive 2. Very good. Okay. So right now we have -4, -1, and -2 as our y values for that. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take those 3 points and we're going to plot them onto our coordinate plane. Now, remember that -1, -4 is going to be an open circle. So when I go to my graph, I'm going to place -1, -4 on the graph with an open circle. So I'm going to go to the left 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 down. And I'm going to put my open circle right there at -1, -4. Okay? Then I'm going to plot the other points, which are automatically going to be closed because they fit less than -1. So that means I'm going to have -2, -1. So I'm going to go to the left 2 and then down 1. Then I'm going to do over to -3 and then up 2 and then put my point there. Now, because it says x is less than -1, that means it's going to continue to be less than -1 as long as I keep going that pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my ruler, and you might see this on the video if you happen to watch the video for this, but put this ruler here, and then I'm going to connect just like that, and then I put my arrow on the end. Because remember, it's going to be less than -1 all the way through. Okay? It's going to be that same pattern all the way through. So just draw the line that connects it, and then put an arrow at the end. Okay? So that's how you graph part 1. Does anybody have a question about how I graph part 1? You have a question? Now, we're going to do part 2. Now, part 2 says if x is greater than or equal to -1. So again, I'm going to start with -1. Now, because it's greater than or equal to -1, that means we get at least 2 values that are greater than or equal to -1. So can anybody give me 2 values that are greater than or equal to -1? Besides -1. 0 and 1. And I can keep going if I want to, right? But again, I want at least 2 numbers that we can use. Now, what does the function say y is going to equal to on this one? Does anybody see? What is y equal to? What is the expression for y on this one? Just -5. So that means that the y is equal to -5 for part 2. Well, that makes it real easy for us because what will be the y value for x equals -1? It'll be -5. What will it be for 0? -5. And what will it be for 1? -5. So no matter what, if the x value is greater than or equal to -1 in this case, the y value will be -5. Okay? So now, all I have to do at this point is just draw my graph. So I'm going to plot my points. Oh, by the way, is -1, -5 going to be an open or closed circle? Why is it closed? It says greater than or equal to, right? Very good. So I'm going to go ahead and put closed beside it. Okay? So now, all we're going to do is we're going to plot those points. So -1, -5. So I'm going to go to -1 to the left and then up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to go right here. Okay? Then I'm going to plot 0, -5, which is right here. Then I'm going to plot 1, -5, which is right there. Now, again, it's going to continue to be greater than -1, greater than or equal to -1. So that means I'm going to draw my line. Oh, let me get a ruler because apparently I still can't draw straight. Okay, so there we go, right? Yeah. Oh, no, that's not good enough. But basically, you see it's just going to be a horizontal line starting at that first point we drew, okay? And then, like I said, it's just going to be just like that. And then put your arrow. So that would be the graph of part 2. Okay.
Why is it on top?
Huh?
Why? I thought it was -5.
Is what? Oh, thank you. You waited to, yeah, you want me to embarrass myself. Okay, it's fine. Okay, -5, right? Okay, so it's going to be down here, right? So it's going to be here, right? Right? Then 0 and then 1. Okay, that's all right. I'm not going to edit that. Okay, so it's going to be like this. Right? Is that better? Yeah, okay. Okay, I don't know why this doesn't want to be straight here, but there we go. All right, so it's going to be a straight line starting at that point. So there we go. So this is part 2, where everything is greater than or equal to -1 for x, and it's just going to stay on -5. Okay? Does anybody have a question about how I graph part 2? Anybody have a question about how I graph part 2? All right. Now, as somebody mentioned to me in an earlier class today, that and today's October the 2nd, 2025, that what they mentioned was the fact that the graphing actually is not even that hard. It's just finding out what the domain range is. That's what's going to make it the hardest. And you will have to find the domain range on the major grade, okay, that we have tomorrow, October the 3rd, 2025. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the domain. Now, remember, domain goes from left to right. So, can anybody tell me what you see on the far left of this graph? What do you see on the far left of this graph? So looking at the graph, what do you see on the left side? What do y'all see?
Negative infinity.
Negative infinity, because you see a what?
Arrow.
An arrow. And so it's on the left side, that arrow represents infinity. But like he said, because on the left side, it's a negative infinity. So therefore, we know that the domain is going to start with, if I can write this correctly. Oh, this went out. Ooh, is it time to charge this? I guess it is. Okay. Negative infinity. Okay. Now, comma. Now, I need you to make sure you pay attention to what I'm about to show you here. Okay? And I hope this will pick up on the recording. So, when you start at infinity, right? This is negative infinity, right? So it's going to keep going. We're going left to right. So we're going to go down. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down. And we get to this open circle, right? Now, there's an open circle right here. So what we have to check for now is there a closed circle on the same line for x equals -1? Is there a closed circle on this side?
Yes.
Yes, it's right here. So therefore, this is a continuation. Now, as you'll find out on another problem, what you understand is that if both these are open circles, that would be what's called a break in the action. Okay? And we'll have to deal with that. But for right now, because it's an open circle and a closed circle, we can go ahead and continue. So now if we continue on, how far to the right does it go? Infinity. So therefore, the domain for this problem will be negative infinity to a positive infinity. Okay? So this is where there is something for everything as far as the x is concerned. So like I said, negative infinity to positive infinity. Yeah, it's time to charge this pen. Okay. Okay, I thought I had a charge, but I guess I didn't. Okay. But yeah, it's going to be negative infinity to positive infinity. All right? So, just give me a second, and I'm going to recharge my pen, and I can use my backup for right now. Yeah, I'm not recording. I'm not editing any of this. Okay.
You have 2 pens.
I do have 2 pens. I bought 2 pens. Okay. All right. But I can't find my newer pen. I actually have 3 pens. Okay. So it's just Amazon. That's all it is. It's not the real Apple pen. This is the imitation. Okay. All right. Okay. So less than $30 for both pens. All right. But anyway. All right. So negative infinity to positive infinity. That's the domain. Okay. Does anybody have a question about why the domain is what it is? Yes, go ahead.
What if they were both closed?
Oh, then it doesn't matter. It's just going to continue. It'll just be a continuation. But if you have an open circle, you have to check to see if there's a closed circle too. And if there isn't, then we're going to get to that. Because what happens if you have but actually if they're both closed, then it's not a function. You understand that? Yeah. So what I'm saying is, so you asked if they were both closed. So if they're both closed, then this problem is written wrong. Because remember I told you that when you are doing this piecewise functions, it's only going to fit one group. It's only going to fit one group. So like, if this had been a closed circle also, the one I'm pointing at whatever it is, -1, -4, then this problem is written wrong. Because it has to fit only one group. Okay? So therefore, this is open, so if this been closed, then it's not going to be a function, because that'd be 2 points on the same line, on the same vertical line. Okay? So that's not going to happen. And I promise you it's not going to happen on the major grade tomorrow either. Okay? Either it's going to be both open, or it's going to be one of them, or they're going to both be, one's going to be one of each. And usually what that also means is that they're going to be at the same point. Okay? So this will be like one closed circle. So it shouldn't be two closed circles on the same line. Okay? All right, now let's do the range. Now remember, range is from lowest to highest on the y, right? So, can anybody tell me what the lowest value we have for y?
-5.
It's just -5, right? Straight, right? It's just -5. So therefore, it's going to be -5. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting. It is -5. That's the first part. By the way, would that be a bracket or a parentheses? It would be a bracket because it's all closed circles. You understand? So it's going to be a bracket. Now, it not only is at -5, but guess what? It ends at -5 for the moment. Do you understand that? Because guess what? There is a gap. There is a gap. There is a gap right here between this closed circle or these closed circles here and this open circle. See, there's nothing in between here to connect. Okay, there's nothing here in between to connect. So therefore, we have -5, that's the only thing. So it's going to be -5. Then we pick back up on here. So where is this y value for this open circle? What's the y value?
-4.
It's -4. Now we go to -4, and it's going to be an open circle, right? So therefore I write what?
So,
Parentheses. Now before I do that, what do I put after this bracket?
U.
A U, that's correct, for union. So it's going to be union, then it's going to be parentheses, -4, right? And then, and then how far does it go up? Without any breaking, right? And this goes to infinity. So therefore, it's going to be like that. And then you close the parentheses. Okay? So you have to keep in mind that it's not a continuation. There's nothing happening between -5 and -4. Because again, there is a space. Okay? There's nothing connected going from -5 to -4 on the y. There's nothing connected. So therefore, we have to have that gap. And anytime we have a gap, that means we have to write a union. Okay? That's basically what that means. Okay? All right, so there you go. So that will be the domain range for this problem. Okay?